This week's Parsha is Parsha Vayikra, and we're reading it at the beginning of Chodesh Nisan in anticipation of Pesach and Leil HaSeder. And I think already at the very beginning of the Sefer, at the very beginning of the Parsha, we have a message that is essential for what the goal of Leil HaSeder is about, which is passing on our traditions to our children, Vayikra. Very much a time of chinuch. Sefer Vayikra begins with what seems to be a repetition. Vayikra el Moshe vayidaber Hashem elav. Hashem called out to Moshe and spoke to him. Why do we have both this kriya and dibur? Rashi tells us a very important message here. He says, L'chol dibrot u'l'chol amirot u'l'chol tzivuyim. Before any speaking, talking, and for sure commandments, kadma kriya. First, God began by calling out. Rashi explains Lashon chiba, language of love, of affection. Lashon shemalachei hasharet mishtamshim bo, a language that refers to the malachei hasharet that they use as well. Shene'amar v'kara zeh el zeh v'yamar. Rashi goes on to say, when God speaks to the Nevi'im of the Goyim, He doesn't speak to them first with this kriya. When He speaks to the Jews, to the Jewish Nevi'im, God begins with this kriya that the Malachei Hasharet use as well. The question is, what does this mean? What is the significance of this kriya, and what do we need to learn from it? I think the answer is very important, very simple. We speak to each other to pass on information, but we call out to each other because we have relationships with each other. And when we hear things from people we have relationships with, what we hear means more, because we know we're hearing it from people who care about us. I think this is an essential thing in our relationship with God. God calls out to us first before speaking, so that we know that He pays attention to us, He cares about us. The Jewish prophets, not the Nevi'ei Umos Ha'olam. And this needs to be true also in anyone we have a relationship with that is meant to be more than just about the information we're passing on. A spouse, a friend, and for sure a child. We live in a time where information has been separated from communication, where we can send a text or an email to give people the information they need without having to communicate with them, without having to connect with them. This can dilute and weaken the relationships we feel with each other, which is a problem in general, and particularly a problem when we want to pass on the things that are most dear to us. Leil HaSeder is a time we want to pass on our traditions. We want the people we're passing those traditions on to feel like it's their tradition. That feeling depends on the degree to which we communicate and connect with them. Whether there's a kriya, a lashon chiba, before a dibur. And I want to add one last nuance to this. Rashi, quoting the Medrash here, compares this to the way the Malachei Hasharet communicate with each other. V'kara zeh el zeh v'yamar. As we say in the beginning of Kedusha, so we see it's significant that they communicate this way. What did the Malachei Hasharet hope to accomplish through this kriya to each other? The third time we say Kedusha and Shachrit, we add the Targum to the pasuk V'kara zeh el zeh v'yamar. The Targum is umekablin dein min dein. Even the Malachei Hasharet have what to learn from each other, which is why they call out to each other to be Mekadeshim Shamayim together. And I think this is an essential part of making anyone feel that we see them as significant. Making anyone want to hear what we have to say hinges on them feeling that they have value to us. If we want to teach, we need to begin by learning. If we want to pass over messages, we have to begin by showing those we want to pass the message over to that we value them, that we see the abilities they have to teach us. All this is included in the Vayikra, the Lashon Chiba, the Kabbalah Dein Min Dein. Let's learn to call out to each other, friends, spouses, and for sure children, as the backdrop and preparation for our ability to pass on the messages those dear to us passed on to us. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Pesach Kasher V'Sameach.